Welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at a brand new game from Worthington Publishing, and this is Dunkirk, France 1940. Now this one was designed by Doug Bryant, and we did an interview with him a few months back when this was back on Kickstarter. You can go and read that. It's a written interview on theplayersaid.com. This is the final production. This is what everyone was shipped. And it's available from Worthington at retail now. But let's take a look inside the box and see kind of what we're getting here. Worthington do make some great games. This is a block war game. On the back you can see 1 to 2 players. There's kind of some solo options. You could, do it both sides. 4 out of 10 difficulties. It's an easy game to learn. And it's about a 2-hour game at the most. This is kind of an illustration of the map, but we'll kind of crack it open and kind of get you going with what's in here. I do really like this artwork on the front. I think it's very evocative. Stukas up top and a couple of BEF on the beach there. Just an interesting box art choice here. So in the box we have rulebook to start with, and this is a small rulebook comparatively. This is not anything. That's kind of design goal. So really it's 8 pages of actual rules. The text can be a little bit dense at times, and they really don't have large margins, so there's some words here, but it's broken up nice and easy. That'll be an easy game to learn, so shouldn't be anything kind of untoward here. On the back you've got an illustration of the stickers, and this is the sheet of the stickers. I apologize. So you've got German units here. You can kind of see there's 2 different shades of grey. This is Army Group A, this is Army Group B. There's Belgians, there's Dutch, there's BEF, and then there's French down here as well. And there's obviously a sticker for the game turn marker there as well. And you can kind of see, and we'll kind of show you here, so each of these are the units. This is Army Group B, has B on them. Then it has kind of the steps on each side that you would expect to see. But then you also have these, which are little flags. In the French, this is 1st, 2nd, 7th, 9th. And those are activation chits. This is kind of a chit pull game, but it's technically they're not chits, it's a block pull game. And you just kind of pull, and that's which kind of army or division you're going to get to activate. So a very interesting game, not a ton of stickers, we'll just kind of get those done pretty quickly there. Here's a very interesting part of this game, because you might think to yourself, how many times can I play Dunkirk? Well, it's more than just Dunkirk. This really is, Dunkirk's kind of the final act. This is literally the invasion of Belgium, pushed through the Ardennes. It's the whole campaign. But what these are the strategy cards for the Germans. They're going to choose one of these or randomly select one at the beginning of the game, and this is going to dictate how they win the game. So it's not just, I'm just going to cut them off, push them to the sea. That is not always the goal of the game. It's a general idea. So kind of this is the drive to the coast. This is kind of your normal, what you would expect. Your main objectives here: control Dunkirk and or Calais at the end of the game. Control Lille at game's end, control Antwerp, Ghent and or Brussels at game end, control Rotterdam and or Eindhoven. Then there's bonus objectives, which are worth more VPs on top of that. And then you have these victory conditions here. So this is Drive to the Coast variant 1. Here's another variant of that as well. This is Divide and Conquer. So this one is control Arras and or Amiens, control Lille, and doing all these things. But this is, you have to destroy the 9th Army. You have to eliminate 5 or more French blocks. And you have to shatter the BEF. So this is much more about destroying those things. And it's much more specific about it. So you have to be more targeted about how you go about conducting your operations. This is Divide and Conquer, another variant of this. You have to destroy different bits and pieces. This one's on to Paris. So you, instead of just kind of, and this is a little planning map, we'll get there, you have to go down and take Paris. It's not just cut through and do all this. the campaign is a little bit different in these On to Paris ones. So there's actually a lot more game in here as you do kind of the whole of the Battle of France. This isn't just Dunkirk. So this is something that's very interesting to me, that this game has a lot more replayability than you might at first initially think. Now, what else is in here? This is a Kickstarter exclusive kind of planning map. This is basically entirely superfluous. You don't actually need this, but Kickstarter backers received this. It's a kind of a dry erase map on both sides. This is kind of to sit here, you know, you kind of tick off which one you're doing, and this is kind of just like an aid. So you might think, okay, I need to go down to Paris, mark off all the things that you need so that I can keep referencing this, so that I know what it is that I'm trying to do, and kind of putting some arrows in this plan. But this is just, I mean, you don't need this. That's just something extra that Kickstarter backers had, which is cool, but the game itself, you just play on this normal board. So let's take a look. This is a great looking board because it is very bold and very clear. There's no messing around on this board. It's got large hexes, it's got large text, the different colors of the different countries. So you've got orange Netherlands, kind of a green, olive Belgium, blue France, and then you'll have BEF kind of set up here as well. Maginot Line, you have Luxembourg down here. This is the Ardennes with Bastogne in it, and you kind of just have grey Germany over here. So it might seem a little bit boring. This is a very functional map. It's very clear. You'll never have any confusion about what it is you're doing in this kind of game. You're not like, oh, what's this terrain? You don't have that here. So appreciate a good functional map. It's iconic, and it's going to look great with all the blocks on it, because that's really a lot of what's left in here. You have 2 of these bags of blocks, and these are just good, chunky wooden blocks. Blue for France, brown for, I think brown is like for Belgium. And then here you have grey for Germany, and then orange for the Netherlands, and red for the BEF, British Expeditionary Force. A couple of D10s, because this game uses D10s. You roll a D10 when you want to attack, and you're trying to get equal to or lower than the attack value. So I'm just going to show you that here. So here, it's interesting how they did the steps. So let's look at this HQ unit here for the French. This has 3 3s, which means it has, this is on its 3rd step. So it has 3 steps. When it attacks, it hits on a 3 or less. If it turns, it's got 2 2s. It doesn't roll 2 dice, that's just telling you it has 2 steps. But now it hits on a 2 or less, so it becomes much worse. And then here, it still hits on a 2 or less, but there's only 1 number, so it only has 1 step left. That's kind of what that indicates. And if you look here at some of the German pieces, this is a 2-step piece, and it hits on 6 or less. Very powerful. Well, it has 1 more step, it still hits on a 6, and you can kind of see the circle behind it. These are the armor units. Fewer steps, but they hit really well. So here, it's just very interesting. You've got this large 3-step armor unit. It hits on a 5 or less. When it takes a hit here, it now hits on a 6 or less. It gets better as there's fewer tanks, which means they can move around more, I guess. You got better maneuvering and positioning. They can be faster because there's fewer of them. Just some really interesting nuance in here. But most everything is infantry, or it's those armor units. You have a couple of mechanized infantry units here for the French, and for the BEF as well. But a lot of it is just kind of normal infantry units. So that's pretty interesting. You're rolling the D10, trying to hit lower than the number that you're on, but you only roll kind of 1. You don't roll the number equal to the steps, which a lot of games do that. So that's just a little change there. And the last thing in the box is a deck of cards. Don't worry, not a card-driven game. This is card-assisted. So here there's a lot of different events. Some are Axis, some are Allied or French only, for example. And you're doing bits and pieces of what these say. These are going to assist and enhance what you're doing elsewhere. You can do extra actions and bits and pieces, or some special some special kind of out of the game bits and pieces that you do, reinforcements, battles, events, things like that. So that's, you're going to shuffle these and you get a few of those throughout the game, and you'll be using those to assist what it is you're doing on the board normally. Now, going back to this chit pull, this is a really cool chit pull in the sense that it's a historically seeded chit pull. Normally, you put a bunch of stuff in, that's what you get, and that's kind of how this is. You don't put all the chits in at the start. Indeed, the Germans get twice as many, they get like a double chit. They can activate Army Group B twice in a turn, and Army Group A twice in a turn. And they can do that for the first 2 turns, just to kind of simulate the blitzkrieg and the aggression. So where all the allied units, or at least the ones that have chits, are going to activate once. Army Group A is going to go, and then they're going to go again once the chits are pulled. And it's only later in the game where the French start getting the reserves, where they start getting in, I think I want to say like the 7th Army, they start coming in later on in the game, and there's a little aid to tell you how the bag is seeded as you go about doing that. Indeed, I believe it's down here. So here the game turn. Game turn it's 6 turns long. The French have the 1st and the 9th in the bag, so they don't have any of the 2nd, 7th order reserves. So there's like 3 whole chits they're going to get later on in the game. And also as the game goes on, the Germans are going to lose that kind of their double chits. So they only have 1 activation for B and 1 activation for A. Turns 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you've got to make hay whilst the sun shines, and then, at least it's the Germans, and then it's going to kind of slow down, and you'll get into a more standard conflict. And the Allies, on the other hand, are just kind of weather the storm, and then they can kind of bring in all the reinforcements, and if you're in good shape, that's going to work for you, or it might be kind of desperate defense where you're just throwing things in to fill holes and hope for the best. But, all in all, very interesting looking game, 2-hour game, short rulebook, easy to learn. I'm excited to play this one, and we'll get this going here real soon. But that's a look at Dunkirk, France 1940. This was put out by Worthington Publishing. You can pick this up at retail now. This is kind of the Kickstarter version. Basically, you get everything in here except for, I think this was a Kickstarter exclusive, but this is entirely extra. It's not losing anything gameplay-wise from that. So, appreciate you guys tuning in, and I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.